There has never been a medical reason for criminalizing marijuana. Marijuana was criminalized because it was associated with dangerous classes, poor people apparently. Marijuana was criminalized because it was associated with poor people, dangerous classes. First criminalization of marijuana was in the Southwest. It was in New Mexico, later Utah, and so on, and it was specifically targeted against Mexicans. Marijuana didn't get criminalized in the United States until shortly after Prohibition ended. After Prohibition ended, we had this huge Bureau of Narcotics, and they had to do something. So they discovered marijuana is going to do all kind of horrible things to you. The Senate testimony about this is mind-boggling. They did have a representative of the American Medical Association who said, we don't have any medical evidence about this. He was shut up, denounced, they got rid of him right away. Then they found somebody else, a pharmacologist, a guy teaching at Temple University, who was doing experiments with marijuana in dogs. They brought this guy in. He testified that when he gave marijuana to dogs, they went insane. Marijuana to dogs, they went insane. They do all kind of things. Some senators asked him, the guy, well, have you ever tried marijuana on humans? So he said, yeah, I tried it on myself. And he said, well, what happened? He said, I turned into a vulture. I started flying around the room. My God, this stuff is terrible. It makes people insane. And marijuana, it was declared by Congress that marijuana makes people insane. But then something happened. It turned out that lawyers, defense lawyers, got the idea and used this for an insanity defense. So if a guy was found, who killed 3 cops, his lawyer would say, well, he had marijuana before, so he was insane, so he can't do anything. And people were getting off on charges, like cop killing, for example, on the claim that they had marijuana. So all of a sudden it was discovered that marijuana doesn't make you insane. Congress decided, sorry, it doesn't make you insane, because we want to wipe that out. The next idea was marijuana is an entry drug. It's a drug you take and then you go on to something else. Well, there was never any evidence for that. But that was decided. And then in the early 50s, something else happened. Marijuana is being brought in here by red Chinese to poison the American population and destroy us. So therefore, we got to stop marijuana. And it kind of goes on like this. Actually, the peak of marijuana use was, as I said, in the 70s. But that was rich kids, so you don't throw them in jail. And then it got seriously criminalized. You really throw people in jail for it when it was poor people. There has never been a medical reason for criminalizing marijuana. Marijuana was criminalized because it was associated with poor people, dangerous classes.
Are you there? Are we getting the transmission? Rev? Is the time machine? Is the capital? Rev,
Cannabis community. Cannabis community.
Rev.
Need to speak to the cannabis community. It's urgent. I have an urgent message for the cannabis community.
Holy shit.
Potheads.
Holy shit.
100 years in the future, we are suffering from the fact that you people haven't been token up enough.
What?
It's not wake and bake. You need to get straightened out on the terminology. It's bake and wake. You need to get together with your peeps. You need to get stoned in massive numbers. You need to listen to entire album sides together. This whole nonsense of just say no. We're saying just say no to just say no. We're saying yes,
Holy
because
shit.
If you don't stop this orange fuck from pushing the button, you'll end up with what we've got 100 years now.
What? No what?
He pushes the frickin' button. He loses his mind. It's a matter of degrees. You won't even see it coming.
Did a little tantrum.
He's crazy now.
Right? So 100 years from now, the fucking planet is fucking dust.
He pushed the button.
Z Nation.
Z-Nation.
Fuck.
Because he's 71 years old. He doesn't care. He pushed the button. He probably had an erectile dysfunction
That's
evening.
it. Why
and
live?
then Mueller called him on the phone in the
shit.
morning, and he just lost his shit.
I know a few guys that'll push buttons on you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. So listen, a lot of people watching, we actually put on the tinfoil on the hats today because we discovered that the CERN project in Switzerland, right, is in fact invading our dreams and creating a Mandela effect where we are having false memories and for real. And only the people who actually know this is going on is the cannabis community. Because the cannabis is actually a filter on that effect that They are actually fucking with us deeply. So, Joganita, tell me.
Well, no, this was just on the X-Files. That was the last X-Files, like last Tuesday. That's what they did.
Mandela effect.
That's
Two
exactly what they
X-Files
were talking about
Right.
on the TV show.
And that's why I'm telling everybody in the cannabis community, anyone within the sound of my voice, put the tinfoil on your head for this hour, spark
Yes.
it up, and listen to the way it is. You got
It
to
also
know.
puts us on the same wavelength.
It
So
does.
that's a good idea.
Right, listen, for right now, for this hour, I want you to know one thing. The healer within will let you know the truth, while the rest of the world is being invaded right now, not only by the CERN demons and the false memories appearing real. I mean, how else did Trump get to be president? What the fuck happened there? Right, this
They're
is like
messing with the wavelength.
they're messing with an alternate timeline. We are right now in
This
that
will
time
block
loop.
it.
And this is
Tinfoil will
actually the
block it.
loop. So right now, put on your tinfoil and let's talk about what's real. Okay, first of all, what the fuck was in that SpaceX launch? Why is there a body in the fucking dummy? What is that? Why does it say don't panic? Do you see that? It says don't panic. What the fuck is that?
I think that.
So what are you telling us? There's actually a body out there.
The sources close to what we saw was actually a human sacrifice put into space. There's a body in that SpaceX costume.
Yeah, the
Right.
Satanists sacrificing somebody else now.
Right, everything. That's why it says don't panic. The guy's in there inside that suit, wrapped up like Curari. Right? He's right there, and he says don't panic.
But you're assuming that aliens can read English?
No, see, that's the thing.
Oh.
Right, Yoganita, did you see the movie Heavy Metal back in the day?
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Remember the movie Heavy Metal? Jacob remembers, right? Okay, what's the villain in Heavy Metal? Rev,
The
you know.
Kolinar,
All right, what the fuck is that?
the green thing,
And what the
the
fuck
green
is that?
orb.
What the fuck is that?
Green orb.
Now, why is fucking Tesla? Why is fucking Elon Musk doing a homage to the fucking green herb, the green orb? I'm telling you, the fuck. This is a kind of satanic worship. This is what they do. To be a permanent player, y'all, you got to do the symbols the way they want to. And if you want to take back the culture, you got to see it for what it is. Because when you put
Well,
up
actually,
with it,
supposedly the Douglas Adams is a reference to Douglas Adams.
oh, interesting. Right.
Yeah.
Stay in this reality, Rev. Stay in this reality.
It's
The
space
guidebook?
thing
Yeah,
still.
stay in this reality. Okay, the deal
Yeah.
is that right now what you see with the SpaceX absolute fakery. Did you see the CGI? Did you see what they fucking did? You hear, when they asked Musk, what did he say? You're looking at me like I know.
Well,
Like I expect you to know, poor thing.
Yeah.
You guys know. The monkeys know. When they asked Musk, he's like, "Oh, it's so fake. It has to be real. If we were going to fake it, it would look real. But it's so fake, it's got to be real." He actually fucking said that.
Is this guy a cologne or is it a person?
Musk, Elon Musk. He wants to listen. What a faker, first of all.
It's a sex pheromone at least.
At least, right. Bottom line is that Musk is not sending anything to outer space. Right, he CGI'd even the rocket's return. You can see it.
Right, because they only did 2 to make it look real, because 3 would be suspect.
Well,
Don't
hon,
you think?
here's the thing. He put the 2 footages of the 2 rockets, and they're mirror images. They're not even 2 different rockets.
And they come down so perfectly.
You can actually match the flames coming out of the retro boosters and see they're actually mirror images. They're just the same thing put through a filter. A reversed image. It's the same rocket.
Yeah, but it's good enough for the sheep though.
Right. So that's the thing is that, what we got going on with this space program is more lies. Right, and that's what's sad. The cannabis community right now is the only one who can see the truth.
So light them up, kids.
Light them up. And you can follow us
And
right
not
now. We're
just
going to continue
kids.
this.
Come on.
Yeah.
I want 60-year-old people. I want people that are retired. I want AARP people to pick up a bong and rock out.
Right.
Let's go.
Look, talk to me right now.
Get your consciousness back.
Right on.
Take back
The Mandela effect.
Get your brain realigned. Come back. Take control of the consciousness. Don't let them feed you the shit. Go ahead and have a buzz and know what's going on.
Only the buzz know this is a fucking fake. Who the fuck
That's
drives
right.
a sports car to Mars? Right.
And Musk is using NASA's playbook.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
in a movie.
Never a straight angle. Those fuckers. Right? This is straight out of Heavy Metal. Now, the point is this is what this demonstrates to the cannabis community, because this Heavy Metal movie was very big when I was a kid in the underground community. It was considered like a Cheech and Chong.
Oh, it was great.
Right,
There'd be midnight shows.
Exactly.
You get baked and go see heavy metal, man.
Now,
that was a thing.
So this is propaganda directed towards the cannabis community. That's why we're addressing it. Now, this is how it works, y'all. The reason why they have predictive programming in The Simpsons, and the reason why they give us these weird hints when they're going to do something nasty to us, is to get us to accept it when it really does happen. Right? So as Musk is paying homage to this demonic image, and everybody goes, oh, yeah, that's sort of weird. Right? We are giving consent.
And we're excited about it.
Exactly. Look at that. I know what that means. As he's driving to fucking Mars. Wow, the mob rules. Right, just like Black Sabbath.
I mean, how do you make a reservation for this anyhow? Do you just email them and say, I want to put up a rocket?
Well, you know, exactly. It's a fixed game. This is a shot right here of the CGI, right? Little burst from the 3D.
I mean, are there guys with rockets in their backyards who don't get to go to NASA?
Okay, now there's a really good question, right? There is an amateur civilian rocket authority, and we have excellent footage, and I will bring it for the next show. We'll actually do that at the beginning. And what the amateur Rocket Society has demonstrated, about 156 miles out, there is like a top to the heavens. It actually hits like a firmament. Mm-hmm. I swear to goodness. You see the cameras. It hits a dome. It hits a dome. It's really interesting. If you look at all these kind of consistent launches of even the SpaceX launch, you see it goes in a parabolic arc. How is it going to escape the atmosphere if it's already going in a parabola? Right? It's already arcing down to land in the ocean. Right? So a lot of these things are absolutely, we've never been able to leave the Earth's atmosphere, y'all, because we are perfect children of God. And the herb and this earth are co-substantial to who you are. You cannot leave the planet, right? You're not an object like that. That's what's so, the proof that you are in a magical dimension is in space travel. As soon as you leave the Van Allen belts, you do not have the umbilical cord back into the life force of the planet. You're dead. You're dust. There's nothing. You get it? There is no life force outside the Van Allen belt. You cannot live. And that blows the minds of everybody who wants to go to the moon, that it's unscientific, somehow magical, so they don't want to tell us. And so in that way, human beings have never really gone to the moon. We want to pretend it is, and that's why we keep on pimping it and have this sci-fi. But the truth is actually human beings, we're magical beings with flesh. We're experienced, we're conscious, we're light beings. And only in this rarefied dimension on this planet can we have physical form.
I mean, if we were already there, we would be put up condos. I mean, that's how capitalism works. Like, got to be first, got to have those condos.
Right. If we were really on the moon, we would be having moon pops.
Yeah.
The condos, I think, are on the backside. You know what I mean?
Think how big the plants would get.
Right. All the things that were selling us about the fucking moon.
You got the 1/6 gravity. I mean, they'd be huge. It'd have like 20-foot tall bushes. And the freaking reproductive parts would be you talk about a 10-foot pole, they'd be huge.
Right. Jacob, do we have any backing track with this? Is it working? It's going. Bring it up a little bit. I want to hear a little bit more. Thank you. Listen, guys, the thing that you are so right on tonight, because the thing I'm so present to is that there's nothing you're gonna need to. It breaks my heart that so many people walking around wounded, no matter how well you eat. No matter how much you actually take care of your body, right? You're living in the soup, in the sewage of a culture that's been lied to, a broken culture. And that's what really, as a physician, I got to go to the source of the problem, because we keep on trying to take the effect of the problem. Like they're angry, so we want to help their anger instead of wanting to go into the source of the anger. And the source of the anger is this culture of lies, right? The culture of lies to tell us that actually something about this planet is Babylon. Right, this is not Babylon, y'all. This is the magical realm.
But what people should think about doing is having Babel salons.
Thank you.
I remember in my youth that we didn't watch TV. We'd put an album on. We'd pass the bowl around.
Right,
and
in the
then
year
we'd end up
2168.
talking about what about the universe? What's the universe really like? What is the truth of it? We didn't bother with jejune nonsense politics bullshit. We just went philosophical.
Well,
and that's
what
needs to happen again.
All right, we're going to take a break coming up on the 15th for the philosophy.
Up,
right, Jacob, listen, I know I'm talking over the monkeys, but I don't fucking care. Listen, we're up against a hard break in the 15s. Break us to two IGs, the oldest first. Jacob, we got this great new song, guy. I'm excited. All right, we'll be coming back after 2 minutes.
Cannabis community, physicians people reporting on a DC event. Terp Mall it was, on a Thursday night. We pull up, event's actually being shut down about an hour and a half early. Buddha Buddy, DC community.
Physicians people here talking about my community, my people. God bless the plant does reveal self to self. And in the cannabis community, there are so many people who are woke because it drives us to self-knowledge. The plant drives us to self-knowledge. And I'm curious about what is revealed to my community. How did you know? How do you know? This self-knowledge is a power. Knowledge is power, y'all. It's self-knowledge, and these times especially is power. This power is the power of the future. Because we need leaders who can think for themselves and come up with great new solutions. That's us, the cannabis community. This is for the people here. Let me tell you something. We have a dream. As a community, we have a dream. We have a dream that the plant will be set free. Not only on the planet, but in people. We have a dream that in fact, the plant and people will be liberated and in fact lead. That euphoric lifted feeling.
So I guess Kiwis are pussies.
Handle all.
Careful, monkeys, we can hear you.
Is there everybody there?
Yeah, we can hear you, fuck.
People feeling
Do we have a visitor or not?
that their
I don't think so.
endocannabinoid
You
systems
ran out of here. It's all right.
always in the lead.
So I can say Kiwis are pussies.
No, don't say
No.
No, don't
No,
say that.
no,
You might
don't
still
say
show
that.
up. You might be
You might
listening. Dude, come on.
She
We might be big
like,
stars in New
"Ooh, I
Zealand.
want to be on the show or
That
not."
what we do matters. What we say matters.
calling them out.
Feel matters. The cannabis
I
community.
challenge
Oh,
the
you're
down
gonna need
under
that.
to come up.
Oh, hold it
Nah.
down over there, monkey face. Over there, future tense, Ravi Das.
Press the button.
Right. I know you're trying to save us from ourselves, but
Press
listen.
the button.
I got to tell you, the truth is, Yoga Nidra, today in real time, I had the first patient I had for the endocannabinoid support program we're running here. And it's someone who got in touch with us through the show and came in and as a practice member, and they're going to be documenting their experience. And, so I get done with the body work. I get done with the workup. And you know what they say? I feel stoned.
It's magic.
Right.
Right there,
and
you
there's no cannabis involved.
That's self-sourced.
Right.
Self-sourced.
Self-sourced. A healthy
Self-sourced.
person self-sources their endocannabinoids, y'all. And we're going to talk about that so everybody can own this, right? If you can prime your endocannabinoid system yourself, right, you're going to be healthy. Okay? So help me break it down so that anyone can understand, hon. Right? This is complicated, and I think I make it too complicated. So help me. For real.
He's in his head.
Oh, yeah, I'm in my head. That's why I wear the tinfoil hat. Yeah, hit the bell if it's stupid. And you guys over there, hold it down unless you got a good question, all right? You. All right. Now, it's a
Bake and wake.
Yeah, bake and wake. First of all, the endocannabinoid system is a system. It's not just one thing. So we're going to make an analogy. The system is like an engine in your car. You got the engine block, right? You got the engine block. You got the fuel. Right? You got the engine block, right? The physical car, right?
Right.
Then you got the actual gas,
Right.
the fuel, and then you got the message. Foot on the pedal. Right, you got it. The three big things, the three big components we're talking about. Now, sometimes you have something break. That's the fourth thing, interference. So we're going to talk about four basic things: engine, fuel, message, and interference. Those are our big 4 points. Now, when the endocannabinoid system is working, the engine is actually in between the nerves. That's what we're looking here in the picture. Two nerves are talking to each other like that. Right? Here's the pre and here's the post. That's the way you do it, the before and after. And what goes on in the body is going to be like a little spark between the pre and the post. Zap. Now, if you're really zapping hard, zap, 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 right? There is a feedback effect from the post back to the pre of like, I gotcha. That's the runner's high. That's the endocannabinoid system being a modulator. I'll say, okay, I gotcha. We're good. In fact, we're so good. You don't have to worry about that. In fact, stop freaking out. Forget it. Forget about it.
They're not just endorphins, they're endolphins.
Forget about it. That's exactly what the endocannabinoid system says. So forget about it. You got me? Now, Michael Pollan in the Omnivore's Dilemma, right, talks about the endocannabinoid system, why it's good for people not to remember everything. Right? Think about it. If you walk, it's like Rain Man, autistic people with broken endocannabinoid system. They walk down the street, they remember even license plates. You got it? Right? Endocannabinoid system, you walk down, have a hectic day, you don't remember the people in subway. You don't remember the stuff you don't have to remember. It goes away because the endocannabinoid system, hey, I got you. Forget about it. Right?
Forget about it.
So that way, the endocannabinoid system protects us from being overstimulated and short-circuiting. And the root of all disease is when this system breaks down and cannot actually compensate. And you'll see it then fall out in different ways. But right here, when the nerves no longer can talk to each other, right, you have a mechanical issue. And then when it becomes mechanical, you need more and more fuel to bridge the gap. And to get that fuel to spark, you need a bigger and bigger message. And this is where the endocannabinoid system gets fatigued. For the cannabis community, they may know this is actual tolerance. This is where you get tolerance. Right? So that's the nutshell. That's what's going on here. Right? The post is speaking back to the pre. And that speaking is not in the form of cannabis. It's the and it's not even an endocannabinoid. It's a B vitamin. So remember when we used to work on patients and then you would take the niacin at the end of the workday?
Yeah.
Right. Tell the story, right? Because it's actually funny.
We'd have a contest on niacin, like, can you pop 2 pills? Can you pop 3? And then one of us would break red, and then we're like, no, I can do one more. So
how much niacin can you do?
It's like...
Right. Now, what happens with niacin, right, is one of the things it's a precursor to GABA.
Don't do that at home.
Yeah, it gives you a kind of endocannabinoid rush, though. Right?
Niacin is related to toilet bowls. Flush.
It's a niacin flush.
It's a niacin
exactly.
flush. You got it.
And that's the thing is, you take too many, it will flush. Like you break out in a sweat. And
right.
Your eyes can't close. You're like,
right,
it's
because
awesome.
because actually the endocannabinoid system in one way has been amplified, and what's going on is there's actually extra availability of phospholipid derived internal endocannabinoids. In other words, the endocannabinoids all of a sudden it's quicker, it's easier to get across. To make that message. You get it? Now, what we want to do is, how do we keep it primed all the time? Not just, right?
Should we keep it primed all the time?
Oh, absolutely. You want to catch stress at the first sign, like, from the roar of the lion, not from his hot breath on top of you. You want to know, your body wants to know when to adjust things ASAP. So, the other interesting thing about the endocannabinoid system, right, is if you notice, it's made out of fats. So when we're talking about the nerve junction and its mechanical function, remember, people who are taking on cannabis medicine, you're using extra fat, and I enjoin you, eat good fats, because the actual endocannabinoids themselves are 18 to 20 chains of fat long. So the 18 to 20 chains of fat that you can buy in fish oil, hemp seed oil, borage oil, all the things that stop the cold, hot flashes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Olive oil.
Olive oil.
Oh,
excellent.
Popeye.
Exactly, olive oil. Right? All these things feed.
Just the fats, man.
Yeah, just the fats are the precursors. Just like you would look for good terps, right? In your cannabis, you want to look for good fats in your diet because they feed the fuel. That's actually the fuel. It's not the cannabis, it's the fuel. Right?
Right.
So if we improve now we talked about the engine. We fixed up the engine by working on its fascia.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Get it looser. Right? Then you take better fuel. Now, how are you going to get actually the message better? Stronger without cannabis?
Cannabis. Oh,
yeah, you could. Right.
I think breathing.
Yeah,
I really do. I really think it's the breathing.
Yeah, you go. Now, everything that naturally gets you high. Now
it's
you
the
go
breathing,
all through
that pause, that magic pause.
Right.
That magic pause, you breathe in and pause. I mean, if you're at a workplace where they're not cannabis friendly, your breathing can change your whole day.
Absolutely it does. And so does the stretch. And so does aromatherapy.
And the interesting thing about hydration is that the fascia system, the stuff that would pick up the cannabis, is kept wet by movement, not by water. And so now you're sitting at the desk all day and you're drinking and drinking and drinking your water, and it's not making the difference it should. You have to be moving. So now, to digress, I talk about like smoking. Sitting at the desk is the new smoking, because at least smokers get up and go outside every 15 minutes or every. I wish they wish, right? But every 2 hours they go out for 15 minutes. Whereas the people who just sit at their desk are just crushing their intestines and hunching their shoulders and. Oh my goodness! Just stand up.
They're squishing their endocannabinoid system by not moving. Right. What's so interesting about cannabis, for when you work with real endocannabinoid deficiencies. Now, I'm talking as a physician. I'm not talking as someone who's saying like, how are you going to get the most high for your strain? This is not recreational in that domain. When you're talking about people who are really having cannabis as medicine and they're developing tolerance, one of the things that you'll notice is that they're using cannabis because they're absolutely fatigued, absolutely tired, and the cannabis, it doesn't get them high. It lifts them out of fatigue into normal. Now, right, if you get them to work out, though, an interesting principle comes up because cannabis and the worker's high, the runner's high is that's where it comes up from naturally, right? When you actually work out, you get a natural runner's high.
And that's why you don't OD
right, you can't
on
OD
the plant because it just enhances what's already there.
Because it's
what's
a message.
already there.
Right, because it's a message. You can't OD on a message. If you were ODing on a message, it would be a drug. It would be the fuel itself. Right, so cannabis does have some drug effects, but it really is only a message, and it sets off by mimicking the endocannabinoid system. Right, now we're dealing with people who are either got endocannabinoid or tolerant or got real deficiencies, and that brings us to the fourth issue. Right. The fourth one is, are there big interferences? Are there big interferences in the endocannabinoid system? And this goes exactly what you're saying. Like if they're dehydrated, right? They're totally, their nerves now are almost
dry.
Dry.
I mean, just use your imagination.
Yeah.
They're drying. They're dry. Right. You want this river to
well,
keep flowing.
and what about prescription drugs?
Well, prescription drugs are going to take us. It's an interesting thing that way you bring that up, Rev. Because prescription drugs have a targeted effect. And a target effect means it's used like one effect per drug. Like
elbow or headache.
They wish.
This
right.
whole system.
Ideally, you would have
a
targeted effect. Why this is interesting is that cannabis does not just have target effects. And the culture tries to slam it into it, like talking about it like target effect. Like, oh, this one will put you to sleep.
This one will wake you up.
This one's a cleaner. And that's such horseshit when you're talking to actual patients. Patients who have got fibromyalgia, for example, stiffness in their bones, right? I mean, really, hard to move.
That's presses a nerve. I know that's like a pun.
Right, sorry. Yeah, but people with fibromyalgia, as you talk to them,
you ask them if they sleep, and then
right,
sleep. Because I've seen on your show you talk about NyQuil. Like, why does that magically make the system reset and all the antibacterial and I had a conversation today where the man had a very specific type of heart attack and he had a choice. They could do surgery that wouldn't work or they could put him to sleep and let the heart heal itself.
Like an induced coma.
I got so excited to tell you that. They put him in
an induced coma.
An induced coma. And I had coffee with him this morning.
Yep. That's how you do it.
It was just what you keep talking about. Reset the system. And a really nice person I talked to today.
Right, exactly. This is the medicine of the future because it's the ancient medicine brought into science. Just if you could study it, and the medical establishment, have a hard time studying because it makes them no money until they figure out the medical coma.
Please refresh my scotch.
Please refresh my scotch.
Please refresh my scotch.
Right, it brings
us back.
Doc,
you know what gets me going?
Oh, I know what gets you going. I don't know if you can say so, though.
Peppers and hot women. Yeah.
That's wrong. Right. No. So like you brought up, the Rev brought up drugs, right? Conventional drugs. Like conventional drugs will take an abnormal situation and can make it normal.
Oh, there's value, but it's just.
Well, and what I was trying to get at, though, I think there's an agenda that they want you to be hooked on their stuff, and it also probably interferes with, if somebody was to try to be holistic and do the cannabis route instead of the prescription route, it might take more work because the frickin' prescriptions have dug a ditch in the system.
You know what? I hate it when you're right, but you're right.
You're right.
Listen, when people heal naturally, people are in their power.
There's no money in that.
And that's really why goes back to how capitalism is crushing our culture. Because this is where people should come to know their power. I'll give you a perfect example. Number one reason our women are admitted, the number one reason of all reasons to go to the hospital is parturition, the medical diagnosed childbirth. Now, when women as a culture lose the power of having, I gave birth, not the system, not the anesthesiologist, not the epidural, I did it.
Not burning the witches, the
Right,
midwives, not burning
Right,
midwives.
Right, not burning midwives, but really coming into your power. That you would have a culture of women empowered by the childbirth rather than seemingly the victim of it.
As soon as
burning midwives would be a great name for a band.
Right. That's why the hippies didn't legalize. They got tied up with their fucking stupid bands. Right, but in France, where they actually have a good medical system, their C-section rate is the inverse of the American. The American C-section rate is about 80-20. We want to schedule
it's for
you.
the good of you.
Yeah.
You're in trauma and your baby's in trauma. Yes, because I'm having birth.
Yeah, birth.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, so 80% of American births are scheduled.
I'm pushing out a.
They don't know what to do with pain if they're not throwing all kinds of anesthetic at it.
But that's how they make.
They don't know. They
we
don't
can't
know
say
what the
they
body
anymore.
actually
Who's
is
they?
supposed to do.
Who's they?
Who's they now? Because it's somebody's neighbor
The
now.
the conventional medical community.
All right, next time you see one of these fuckers, you say you're a drug pusher, aren't you?
Oh,
No, for real, I do that. I say that. I saw a cardiologist the other day. I insulted him because he wrote a book. And I said, I read your book. It looks like you don't touch people, though.
No.
All right, you guys took a turn on me. I said, no, I read the whole fucking thing. You never touch anybody.
People, I just want to give them these things to swallow.
Just write him a prescription.
Yeah. So I said, what kind of doctor are you? You don't touch people.
Get the fuck out of my
I said, I
face.
don't understand that. He couldn't even finish the conversation. He goes, oh, you're just one of those.
You're just one of those, right?
I get it.
One of those.
Right, that's all right. I like being one of these.
To relate to your subject.
Well, they get rated on. I was at the hospital
They
with a
being the
friend
medical professionals.
at the hospital, and they were rated on do you feel pain, not if you got better.
Right.
And they wanted to give my friend a shot to stay overnight to thin his blood, and I said no. And so they brought down HR and somebody else, and they kept us separate. They interviewed him to see if there was domestic abuse because I spoke for him.
Right.
He was only in the hospital for observation, and I didn't want them to give him a shot.
It's called the cascade medical intervention, y'all. You go there for one thing, it turns out 20. The side effects turn into 20 other things.
Yep.
You go there for maybe it should be a $500 bill tops. You'll leave 10 grand.
I've
That's
seen
the
them
objective.
kill people with misdiagnosis. It's a horrible thing.
Misdiagnosis, the medical mistake, is equal to the malpractice rate.
And they cover each other's ass like mad. It's
so we're
worse
talking
than the
about
mob,
between
and he ought to know.
1 and 3, every medical visit is a mistake or malpractice. 1 in 3.
Yep.
Well, the insurance is really high, and
That's
so they
why-
have to push the drugs to get their commission.
Right.
Because you brought that up.
Right.
Like, you know, what are they? How are they supposed to feed their family? If
Exactly, right.
If
These
they're
are decent
paying
folk.
malpractice.
Right. So it brings us back to real disease is actually capitalism.
And the insurance companies doesn't want this situation to change.
Shut the fuck up and pick up on what I just said. Did I just say capitalism is a problem? Then
Yeah.
follow that up with something relevant and then saying that insurance companies, what the fuck are insurance companies with capitalists? I'm supposed to say yes to you?
He
Listen
doesn't
to
have
me.
a face.
Yeah, listen to me. All right? I'm fucking getting mad at you because you're not listening. You're from the fucking future and you're not telling us how to save the planet. What's going to go on? If my kids are going to fucking die? All right, take me out. I've had it. Had it.
Cannabis community. Physician for the people reporting on a vision collectively held by the cannabis community. The cannabis community will not accept prohibition. They will not be illegally healed. They have taken their power back. Now, in this same way, we take our power back as a society. We take our vision and see that we can have a just society. We can have a fair society. We can have a society where everyone is fed, everyone is educated, and everyone has the right to be free. This can be done simply by letting the plant be sold and shared, taxed and regulated, and allowed to enter into the society, into the culture at large. Because cannabis resets the human being. Cannabis is medicine. Cannabis community, physician for the people. Did you know that all cannabis, all hemp, is in fact thermogenic? In other words, all weed is skinny weed? Yeah. The CBD component of cannabis turns on the receptors that burn fat in the body, especially the CB2, right? In the muscles and in the liver. Not the CB1 receptors, which are in the brain, that create kind of psychoactivity, right? Now, when the CB2 receptors are activated in the body by cannabis hemp, right? The only real products that can do this directly. body starts burning deep fat, just as if you were exercising, just as if you did a long run. Now, utilizing the thermogenic properties of cannabis can help people stay at their target weight for a life. Cannabis community. Physician for the people testifying there is no cannabis that is recreational. All use of cannabis is in fact medicinal. Cannabis cannot be slammed into the capitalist culture market as just another product. Cannabis is not in fact a commodity. Cannabis is in fact a natural sacrament. Cannabis delivers bioidentical cannabinoids that our body make. The cannabis plant, the hemp plant, are the only plants that make the bioidentical, exact, identical cannabinoids found in our own body. Not like opiates, which are like natural endorphins, will make you sick eventually. Cannabis doesn't make you sick, cannabis makes you well. Cannabis community, physician for the people. 2018 is going to be the year of cannabis. It already is. You look at the authorities. First of all, they're bankrupt. Jeff Sessions may want to make cannabis the new apartheid, but really there's not enough money left in Trump's America to pay for it. The United States is bankrupt, right? Morally bankrupt, and in fact financially bankrupt. And they're looking to cannabis as a new tax and regulation scheme that's going to save the man from the way that they like to spend money. The way that we spend our cannabis dollars is going to actually define the cannabis community. We have a choice. Either we're going to be cannabis chumps and play into the stereotypes that the elite and the prohibitionists have mapped out for us for generations. In other words, cannabis community likes Cheetos. The cannabis community will have to define itself by deciding it is the smart, the wise, and in fact...
It's okay. All right, so listen, Yoga Nidra, when you come by, you make the show. Because actually, you remind me that we're here for the healing of the people, and it's not about any one thing. And the healing within is the endocannabinoid system. And you've been really wanting me to explain some things to you, and I want to turn this time over to you. Tell me, really, like, how can I explain this to you that makes sense? Like, where do you want to start?
Well, where do you get this passion that you want to share it with people? I know when people go to that training for self-esteem, they want to share it, or direct marketing, they want to share it. Right. But you've not lost this passion coming back.
I know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, right? Because the truth is that cannabis is a stigmatized thing. And cannabis, but I mean really literal now. When I was my sickest, when I went through the wounding that really turned me into to want to pursue my healing, cannabis was that remedy that saved my life. So I'll give you an example. When I was 11 and a half, fell off my bike real bad, broke my neck. I got an unresolved concussion, right? You've seen the body work, right? So that I had this real distortion in my physical body. So that the first time I tried cannabis, it wasn't recreational. I felt like it was Ritalin. I remember it was time to go to my guitar lesson. Some kids around the block had their brother's cannabis pipe, their pot pipe. I tried it just because I wanted to be cool.
Pot.
Right?
Pot.
Yeah, the pot.
Pot.
And then my mom calls, hey, it's time to go to guitar lessons. Come on. I get in the car, and I remember my guitar teacher goes, wow, you've really been practicing. It really shows. And I hadn't fucking practiced at all that week.
At all, right?
I forgot all about it. And it blew my mind. I thought it was supposed to be bad for you. Right? And that's what, right? So that's really what happened, is that cannabis then, I became fascinated with the fact that it made me want to learn. It made the unresolved concussion, the feelings of the actual dyslexia of the words swirling around the page made it go away. And I could actually study if I had access to cannabis. And this was really hard to explain to people, right? You know, because I was on the outs. So I didn't really pursue it. But when later on I went to college, I was able to discover cannabis, and it was a great study aid. All of a sudden, cannabis is a great study aid. And then phase 2 happens. I contracted a horrible case of genital herpes. Right, from the living girlfriend at the time. I'm telling you, it was like 3 weeks out of the month, like my dick was in the actual hot oil fryer.
You guys signed up for this.
Totally,
you guys signed up for this.
Right? Now the weird thing is that whenever I puffed the cannabis, puffed the plant, it wouldn't come up. If I didn't have cannabis in my life, it would come up. And I'm thinking, oh, that means that I must be some kind of nervous type. In other words, it's because cannabis is not medicinal. It's just some kind of psychological stress relief. This is in the 80s. So I'm thinking, oh, if cannabis is keeping me from breaking out with herpes, it means that I'm really a neurotic, stressed person.
Right.
Not that it has any antimicrobial or antiviral properties, which it does. Right. So what my passion was is that by the time I got to Natural Horizons, we had patients who were in the cancer program. Here I am. I have cannabis in my life because I know it keeps me healthy, right? It keeps me out of physical pain. It keeps me from expressing the herpes in my body. And then we have patients in the cancer program. And all of a sudden they're saying, yeah. They use cannabis all the time. In fact, they're using it as chemo. And I say, you can't do that. It's bad for you. Remember Norma?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Right? It's bad for you. She goes, oh, no, it isn't. Here's the paperwork. Right? Don't say the last name. But right, we can say the first name.
No.
Right. So basically what I learned there was, oh, my God, I did the deep research. Right?
When you talked to her, she was so ahead of the game on everything.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I guess she would be a
She knew, and she made me do the
cannabis
research.
because
Cannabis
she was so
the thing
cool.
that extended
Only
her
cool
life.
people, when you're that cool,
Right.
it's usually
Because cannabis is making a difference for you.
Yeah.
So when I discovered that I was also a prohibitionist, I was going to keep cannabis away from people out of my ignorance, but at the same time keep it for myself out of my own ignorance.
Oh my God.
When I realized that I had been tricked by the culture into being another one of these fucking asshole gatekeepers.
Wow.
That's when it fucking got me. I'm one of them.
Thank God I didn't know you then.
Right? No, you did. Bob,
Really?
you did.
You knew him forever.
Rev, you did. I didn't know exactly.
Well, I didn't realize you were doing that.
Well, the ignorance goes that deep.
Well, it's indoctrination. For
Exactly.
Christ's
thank
sake.
you. It
These
is the
motherfuckers
indoctrination.
have an agenda.
It is the indoctrination of someone else's inhumane agenda. And that's what I mean. So my passion comes from the fact, first of all, self-serving. I'm going straight to hell, y'all. I'm going straight to hell because I don't listen to what nature says first for my people. I listen to what the man says. I ask people to pay first.
Well, you got a paper.
Right, I got a piece of paper.
You got a piece of paper that says you're supposed to do that.
Yeah,
So.
right. And when I realized that
figure.
capitalism had actually changed the way I practice, I practice for money first instead of for people first. I realized I gotta give this shit away. I give the knowledge away. And like I said, we started our first patient from the show. And if people want to be in the patient base, in the patient body of the show, practice members, contact us through the IG. That's Physician for the People. Contact us through Facebook. That's the Commonwealth Journal of Cannabis Medicine. Right. Also, my identity on Facebook is Ram Thoreau. R-A-H-M Thoreau. Right. You know how to find me. It's not that hard, y'all.
Our goal is so you're self-sourced. If we can get you in the direction you need to be, then you don't have to come back and see us, and you can send other people to us, and that's how we generate our income.
We need to shoot a graphic for those contacts, though.
Yeah, listen to this, Yoga Nidra. Listen to this. This is really cool. I mean, I'm actually really excited, not fake excited. Right. So remember the BTM pee test we used to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So one of the things that we're really good at is testing people's urine
if
and
you
saliva.
pee on this stick, wow.
We can tell stuff.
Yeah, we can tell
And
lots of stuff.
It's not just like you're in trouble, but like what you may need is a vitamin.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble for your pee.
Did you guys pee for him?
Right, not yet, but they have peed for me.
They peed for him.
Yeah, they'll pee for me.
Everyone pees for
Everyone
you.
pees for me eventually.
I pee on Trump, I'll tell you
I
that.
pee, we all pee.
So listen, what you can read on the
And
pee.
that's a good thing.
Oh, thank God! I had a chemistry professor. This guy's brilliant.
I'll
He goes,
eat-
you know
I'll
who
eat
your best friend
asparagus
is?
first.
Best friend. Urine. You would die in 3 seconds without urine if you didn't urinate. So when you take the urine, I'm actually helping you. You're with your best friend. Take your toxin. Now, what it tells us out of urine.
Visual, because you see a color change, and it gets you involved right away.
Well, listen. I read a paper that corroborates a theory that we've been talking about, that you can read the endocannabinoid deficiency by the urine, a straight number. So now what we're able to offer the cannabis community is not only are we going to work on your endocannabinoid system, we're going to measure it. And we're going to teach you
So
how
there's
to
actually
measure
a
it
beneficial
yourselves,
piss
y'all.
test.
You get it? So that people can own their health in a new way. There is no medical doctor who actually is an endocannabinoid specialist. It's going to be up to you, cannabis community, because you all discovered fucking the endocannabinoid system works as medicine. Like I had to do it through fucking hard knocks because my dick didn't catch on fire.
No.
No, for real. I was like, I'm a fucking pioneer. My dick's not on fire. Right now, I got 2 great kids. Oh, sorry.
That's
Right, it's too much?
At least.
no, I think it deserved a bell.
It did. Oh,
It's awesome.
The bell of
It's
recognition.
awesome.
Now, stop that.
Anti-dick
I'm
flavor.
telling you. Yeah, exactly. Right. If we were medical doctors, we'd be selling like dick remedy, like herpes, like the herpes strain.
That's right.
Right. But that's not what this is. Right. We were talking about. Rev brought up the drug.
It's in my head. The flaming dick. It just.
Oh, I hope a flaming dick is not in your head, because
That's
no one needs
a good
No
name
one needs
for
that.
a band too. That's a
Flaming
good
dick.
name
No
for
one
a
needs that.
band.
No one needs a
Flaming
flaming
dick
dick in their
flaming
head.
midwives.
I think it
Double
already
bill.
is. I think it already is.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, Yoga Neater. No one needs that.
Well,
Listen. So look
so
at.
you got this passion to share. That's what
Right,
fascinates me is that
yeah.
you've not been discouraged. Like you found a path.
Oh, here's the thing. You know, you're right. When I thought that it was going to be safe for me to sell my practice and go into, someone gave me a bar, y'all. I inherited a bar about 2006. And Yoga Nidra knows it's a true story. Right? I inherited
I
a
was
restaurant
there.
bar. And I went from being this enlightened healer, I'm going to heal you. I have all these tools. And
No.
I said, I'm going to put that on hold, do the bar, and then that way I'll be able to do both. And I'll have the bar feed me money, and I'll be able to work less hard at my practice, and I'll be best of both worlds, right? Here's the thing I discovered, though. When you play a game for healing, people are nice to you, and you catch all the breaks, because nature looks after the beloved. Life looks after those who look after life. We are of service to life, and life looks out for us in a weird, synchronistic way.
A very weird way.
Very loving,
Just go
weird
with
way.
it.
Go with it.
Just go with it.
What I discovered was that when I owned the bar, and I started being a fucking son of a bitch.
Yep. Well, you
Life-
had to. You had to work because you couldn't.
You got it.
You had to.
I had to.
I'm
You were
sorry,
the
you had
bouncer.
to.
I had to.
right.
I had a fucking biker bar.
I'll tell you, when you were at your best is when you were surrounded by comic books, doing a sliding scale for people, and then when you went all legitimate. corporate, it fell to shit.
Fell
And
to
then
shit.
you were burnt out and opened up a bar. I saw it. I witnessed. I don't know if
exactly.
Monkey 1, who's Monkey 1 and Monkey 2?
Monkey 1 or Monkey 2, they saw
Monkey
it.
1 and
Not
Monkey
pretty.
2.
The bottom line
I
is,
was
why
there.
do you pursue it?
I was
Because
there.
I've gone the other way. There's nothing else for me. I have no choice now, Yoga Nidra. The truth is I've tried to escape my fate, like Jonah running away from Nineveh. Right? No. You just get thrown into the whale. There's no better place to be, but to be in a place where you're blessed by people saying thank you. Turning on the endocannabinoid system has given me so much joy because I see people when they get done come off the table. Their eyes are brighter. Their life is working.
Their eyes are symmetrical, and if you
Yeah.
are curious, look at your eyes and see if they're symmetrical, or take a picture
Yeah,
this way,
the pre and
then
post.
take a picture this way.
You'll see.
Hey, they say the eyes have it.
The eyes have
the
it.
eyes have it over there.
How come
keep
B.
it.
Sanders looks like a Picasso?
Right. So, well, listen, the passion comes from the truth. The truth sets you free. What I've discovered is all the different ways we talk about, like, our healing arts, fascial, acupuncture, osteopathic, cranial sacral, homeopathic.
And when they do that for money, they go off the deep end too. You have chiropractors who like used car salesmen. They're like,
Oh, God, yeah.
you got to put up $3,500 after
Case
the
fee.
first visit, and then you can come all year for free.
Right, what is up with that?
And that doesn't teach you how to take care of yourself. Whatsoever.
Now, the truth is all these fuckers are turning on the endocannabinoid system, period. And if they're trying to sell you that, oh, no, my pill did it, oh, no, my needle did it, oh, no, my manipulation did it, no. It sets it off the way the cannabis does. Now, if I can get the cannabis community as healthy as they can be, and all the people who would benefit from cannabis, the cannabis that would benefit them, and they can be as healthy as they would be, we will avoid the Trump wars and the CERN invasions that right now, like, it's fomenting right now. I don't even want to tell you, and I'm sorry, I'm going off again, because it bothers me that much.
Don't let them come into your head.
Listen, as I understand it, the Rev has told me what happens in about 20 years. CERN has invaded the dreams. In fact, we think we're going to fight the next war in the form of nuclear weapons. It's going to be actually, no one will be able to fall asleep.
It's like the Matrix too.
Yeah, your dreams will be invaded.
Like the Matrix.
Well, the Matrix in reverse. You'll sleep. The only way you'll be able to sleep, as they say, will be in an airplane or a moving car, like a kid, like a baby. You won't be able to be laying flat and go to sleep, because then the demons will be able to triangulate on you and invade your dreams. So no one will be able to sleep on the planet Earth in about 15 to 20 years. For real. This is actually
It's
the plan.
already happening.
It's already happening. And by invading the dream level, Basically, human beings will be driven insane.
Yep.
We will no longer be able to maintain
It's pretty
civil
crazy
conversations. Yeah, imagine just one more thing. No one gets a good night's sleep. Now,
And then
the
you
only
can
people who will be
control
able
them.
to
That's
rest.
how you control people is lack of sleep,
Yep,
too
lack of sleep.
cold.
Right.
Take away their basic needs and you can control them.
Right.
And sleep is a basic
Rest
need.
position.
Right. Now, this is the only people who are going to be able to escape this are those who actually get their endocannabinoid systems fit.
That's
The
right.
only people who, and the people who've got the fire. You've got fire. In other words,
Smoke
if you've
'em
got the
if you
plant,
got 'em.
and if you're very healthy, you can avoid this. You will be the Omega Man generation, Omega people. But that's it. That's it. Now, unless the people now are prepared and we get people puffing
Oh, and
people healthy, it's over.
You know, and what we have on our side is that these old white men that need to die out think that cannabis smokers are
Right.
dumb.
Yeah,
they
thank
just
God.
think you're dumb,
thank
and
God.
that because you give stuff away and you're not interested in money to that level, that you're insignificant. And
Right.
that's what we have on
Yeah,
our side
we're not
is
playing
being
their
overlooked.
game, so we
right?
must be doing
Right.
something wrong.
That's it.
Right.
Right. So in the end, if we can wait out the
And their game
capitalists, you're right.
sucks. Their game sucks energy
This-
out of people's life.
If you let it.
Sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Their
That's it.
energy
You
sucks,
know,
and they must be stopped.
If they only know how stupid they sound when they say crap like that.
I like that. Frankie, you got some words of wisdom for me right now. I need you to bring me up because I'm down.
Yeah.
Talk to me now, Frank.
Trump says that he did this. Trump says that he did that. But it's all a bunch of lies from the big mouth rat.
There you go.
There you go.
While
There you
we
go.
got the muscle, we got to tell the people what is true. Because if we leave it to the politicians and the media, since they don't give a flying fuck about me and you.
There you
There
go.
you go.
There you
Doing
go.
rhymes with Frankie comes with ease. But if you want to do me a favor, don't give me no chopped liver on cracker or a can of peas.
Oh.
Just a big
Oh.
plate of pasta with a lot of Parmesan cheese.
Nice. All right, listen, cannabis community. Listen, Physician for People, we're on the wind down, but listen, we got a plan. Right? The reason why cannabis needs to be in everyone's life also social justice. And the social justice issue is the one that will not go away. Right? The problem is before us. It is really simple. July 4th, Trump wants to put on a military parade. As we understand it from our sources in the future, this is one of the big things that has to is a divergence in the timeline. The time loop, if we get stuck, if this is successful for him, we may be stuck in a time loop with the CERN demons in your dreams. And I'm telling you now.
Let him pay for it. Let him pay for it.
Let him pay for it. Fuck you, pay me.
With the money from his inauguration.
Right? I'm telling you now, July 4th, come to Washington, D.C. and get your joints. Get your high on in D.C. because we're going to put an opposition together that Trump has never seen before. High people in the streets. You think that Tiananmen Square thing when China, the guys that get in the way of the tank?
Yeah.
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 That's what I'm talking about. It's going to be me. Right here. Right here.
Get
Right
her.
here.
Yeah.
Trump. Right here, Trump. All right, Dad. That's it.
Oh
That's
wow,
what I'm telling
we
you.
could do the whole Daisy and the gun barrel thing again.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but
No,
it's gonna
let's
be a
do
little-
a montage.
The
all of it.
montage. I'm
All
talking
of it.
cannabis community.
All of it.
All of you. I need
Yeah.
you right now, committed. Are you going to make the future the place you want to live, or do you want to suck Trump's balls?
Break out your tie dyes, people. This
Right?
is
This
for
ain't
all
no
the
Cheech and
marbles.
Chong Bong time. I'm talking about save the planet. Jacob, I got to go home. Bring me the IGs. I'm hot. I'm mad. Gotta go.
Dick on
You're
fire.
not burning again down there, are you?
Dick on fire.
There has never been a medical reason for criminalizing marijuana. Marijuana was criminalized because it was associated with dangerous classes, poor people friendly. Marijuana was criminalized because it was associated with poor people, dangerous classes. First criminalization of marijuana was in the Southwest. It was in New Mexico, later Utah, and so on, and it was specifically targeted against Mexicans. Marijuana didn't get criminalized in the United States until shortly after Prohibition ended. After Prohibition ended, we had this huge Bureau of Narcotics, and they had to do something. So they discovered marijuana is going to do all kind of horrible things to you. The Senate testimony about this is mind-boggling. They did have a representative of the American Medical Association who said, we don't have any medical evidence about this. He was shut up, denounced, they got rid of him right away. Then they found somebody else, a pharmacologist, a guy teaching at Temple University, who was doing experiments with marijuana in dogs. They brought this guy in. He testified that when he gave marijuana to dogs, they went insane. Marijuana to dogs, they went insane.